So I know I had shared I was going to show you guys that full spread that I did, or that came out. That just came out without me really wanting to. At least these did. These I did pull out because these came out like this when I was doing my tarot shuffle. I did this first, and then I decided to try to expand a little bit more with those as well to match it. And so the question again that I posted for these was the same, and I'll post it in the description box. But for the top ones, the question that I asked, the specific question was to provide me with cards that would help me understand this a little bit better. And so I really feel like there's definitely a concept of twin flame. Even though I wanted to let that go, it keeps appearing. And I could definitely take this on a personal level, but there was a part of me that felt like I needed to also share it, because I felt like it was on a global level as well with everything that's going on. So I haven't looked at the little booklet thingies, but I'll just go ahead and kind of explain what stands out for me intuitively, and then what I'll do is in the description box I will put whatever the little description is for each card, and or you guys can kind of figure it out on your own. So I'll start off with the center one. So the center one, Eight of Swords. I have no idea what Eight of Swords really stands for. Maybe I should do this. But just by looking at the picture, right, I see this sign up here, which to me, I want to say it's an air sign. And there's like strings coming down, right? And so this could mean two different things. One, it could mean that we have kind of created, become a puppet, right? Where we have just been following everyday stuff without question, just kind of going with the flow, and not realizing, right? All these swords are around us, kind of like we're caged in, like, and we've kind of put ourselves there, right? So that's one way that this stands out. The other way is looking at the top word, which says interference. And so I feel like it's more of a divine intervention almost, where, because the strings are coming from above, where it's going to find a way to release this illusion that we're caught into something. And if you see the swords, there's like the middle one, there's kind of like this opening, like it's starting to open up. So that's kind of what I see in this card. The one right next to it is again swords. It's an Ace of Swords. It goes down, right? I guess from 8 to 1, Ace. And there's like this crown at the top. For me, it feels like it's something divine. And there's only one sword. And I don't know if maybe we're only supposed to have one sword, or, I mean, there's a little snake here, and I want to say that snakes were healing, or maybe it's male, it's a male, right? In the Strength card, the snake was around the girl's leg, and in the little booklet it defined it as a male, the masculine. So it must mean that the masculine receives like the Ace of Swords. And again, it's an air sign. So 2 air signs at the top. And then it was the fire signs below. So this one, Prince of Wands. So again, a fire sign. And it's the masculine kind of coming. And I forgot what the freaking wand stands for. But if you notice, like, he's looking to the left, and in Sandtray, when we look at the left, that's looking at the past, right? And I think it's the same concept here as well. When we look at the past in terms of like tarot reading, and again, I don't have any training in tarot reading. This was just me trying to figure this out and playing with it. But the sense of like, he's looking at the past, but then he's coming forward. And so it's like maybe a little doubt, a little insecurity about moving forward. And then if you notice the one right next to it, also a fire sign, It's the feminine, and she's looking straight ahead, and the cheetah is looking forward, the right, to the right. And it's the Queen of Wands. So we're talking prince and queen. So definitely, you know, I think there's this big understanding of just the feminine, and not talking about gender or anything, but just our feminine side. And again, the link of Christina Lopes that I'm going to put in the description box, she talks about what is exactly feminine and masculine. Like what are those traits? But anyways, if you look, the prince has the fire in the back, so it definitely kind of coming towards me with passion, right? There's definitely passion. There's definitely like a quickness to it almost. And here, it's like definitely in the forefront, the fire, and she's holding like the wand. Actually, it's the same wand, right? Oh, sorry. Yeah. She's definitely holding the wand as if like signaling to the Prince of Wands, like, hey, this is the way. This is the way. And it could be that she's looking straight, or maybe she's looking also a little bit to the left. I don't know. Open to interpretation. But the other thing that I noticed from here is that she has all the stars in the sky. And I read somewhere, or maybe it was MJ that said, I think it was MJ. MJ said that the feminine are, we tend to be more of the ones connected to our spiritual self. And again, feminine, not necessarily that you're female, but just if you're having, you tend to have more of those feminine traits. There's definitely the ability to connect with the, you know, our intuition a lot better, right? It's a lot stronger. I don't want to say better. It's just a lot stronger in us, at least for right now. And so there's definitely stars in the sky, whereas the Prince of Wands, there are no stars in the sky. It's just dark. So I thought that was really interesting. And again, these were jumpers. Go figure, right? These were jumpers. So now these, the way, I just bought this deck. And so the way that I pulled these cards out, Chris from Minnow Pond, I see him kind of line them up all across the board, and then he just kind of goes and picks them out. So that's kind of what I did. So this was the first card, Renewal, and these are so beautiful. I love this deck. They're so beautiful. I've always had a thing with like Native Americans and the teachings and the art and everything. But anyways, so again, I haven't looked the definition up for these, but the renewal, what I noticed firsthand was this light within, this light that kind of opened up. And then there's these circle things that I feel like could either represent time or change maybe. And if you notice, it kind of like starts either from outside within or within inside out. And it could be because of this light, right? Yeah, I think it is the light, because you see the flames kind of going around her, and then it kind of like the light within the little, maybe you can see within the little cheek, and then there's the flame kind of coming to here, and then a bigger, so like a ripple effect almost, or that droplet in the ocean, of how just one person's flame can really make a difference, right? And then the word renewal, you definitely feel renewed when you find that flame inside for whatever reason it is, right? And so this is positioned in the past, is what I was told by the little description booklet. And then this one came up next, and it has the word magnetism. And so I thought about, okay, a magnet, right? And with magnets, they can either be polar opposites, or right, where one magnet repels another, or it can attach itself quickly. And so it made me think of the whole, it made me think of the whole twin flame, again, concept, right? Of how, you know, there's that push and pull dynamic. And, you know, Twin Flame Revolution, their YouTube channel, I feel like they do a really great job of talking about how to work through those challenges as a couple or individually if you don't have your twin flame with you. What you can do to kind of bridge that gap. And so if you look, sorry, I'm trying to hold this camera at the same time. So if you look, it's almost like it's a combination of both. Like they're coming towards each other, but at the same time not, because this one is facing the opposite way, and this one's facing towards this other counterpart almost. And so again, it could be this concept of one is looking away than the other, this flame coming towards this one, and this one maybe is distracted. And again, that's on a personal level here. But it could also be global level, just how we're trying to find a way to bridge the gap between the polarity. And we have one side that feels they're right versus the other side that is looking away and saying, no, you're wrong, right? But then there's this sun in the background that is trying to come through the clouds. And so again, there's this twin flame reading to it, but at the same time, this global, like on a personal level, I can totally relate. But then at the same time, on a global level, like the opposites and the polarities trying to find a way to come together, right? To have the sun shine through the clouds, through the darkness. So that's kind of where that stood out for me. And then you have this one, the surface one, that stood out for me in the sense of, letting go of the illusion of a twin flame. Because on the surface, that's just what it is on the surface, but deep down it's more. And so if you look, for me, this feels like it's underwater. This image is underwater with just how it's flowing from one side, from the bottom left to the top right. It just seems like they're underwater and they're floating almost. Like when you're floating in the water. Yeah, I guess that's it. Just floating in the water. But also, if you know the man, or this image that looks like a man, he's like asleep, or his eyes are closed. And then the feminine here has her eyes open and looking up almost. And so this recognition of just not just the fact that the feminine has her eyes open, like there's more of a knowing almost, but also this sense of, because it says surface, and I feel like it's very much this whole don't judge a book by its cover concept, right? Where what is the masculine, what is the feminine? It's all surface stuff, right? When we, as human beings, when we look at maybe just the body, right? The body in itself, I mean, religiously speaking, from whatever little bit that I know about religion, we're believed that this is just an earthly body, right? That it's just an earthly body, period. And so, and then if you're more on the spiritual side, regardless of what, if you look at like the Native American tribes, there's this sense of like there's a soul inside, and that's who you truly are versus this outer shell. And so, yeah, like just not judging a book by its cover, but also the feminine being more awake, alert during this time, being underwater. And what I'm learning is that water is symbolic for emotions, right? And so really calming, I don't want to say like killing off, but really calming the masculine side within ourselves, because I've been very masculine driven, with my history of trauma. You get the tendency of wanting to protect yourself, right? To stand on guard. And so you become a little more aggressive, right? Because you don't want to get hurt. You've been hurt before, emotionally. And so there's this need to protect yourself. And the only way we know how to protect ourselves is to create walls and barriers over our heart and act more on the like charge, let's protect ourselves, right? Like a war or something. But Anyway, so these last two, my eye was on this one, but my hand went to this one. And I kept going back and my eye kept going here and then my hand kept going here. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna need to take both of these out. But this one, it says specialization at the bottom. But when I look at it, the first thing that came to mind was like the magician card almost, because she has her hands up and there's like butterflies. So it's like, you know, butterflies, even in therapy, you know, butterflies symbolic of change. And just, you know, she's wearing that hoodie thing. And for me, like, you know, if you look at the sci-fi movies or just the movies in general, like it's always the wise person, right? That has like one of those little shawls over their heads. And so, but there's also the triangles. I noticed there's like this triangle and then that triangle, like the Star of David. And I don't remember what that means, but I remember, I do remember, you guys are gonna think I'm weird, the Da Vinci Code in terms of symbols. And so like the chalice and, you know, whatever opposite sign it is. But anyways, there's the heart in the middle and there's flames coming out of it. And yeah, like it screams magician to me. But then there's specialization. And so again, if I were to look at this on a personal level, because again, when I asked for these cards, this was really like, what challenge do I need to be aware of? What challenge needs, what challenge do I need to learn from? What challenge needs my love and compassion? These four came, like literally jumped out. And so, and then these top ones again were, the question that I asked was, what do I need to know? What cards do I need to help me understand this? And so if I were to like combine both of the messages, I feel like there's this need for, first for us to recognize, right, that light within us, what that is, what that means for each of us, and it's going to be different. In order for change to occur, right? And so here, if we're combining it, it's this sense of recognizing what changes need to occur to be set free, right? From something, to where we are left with just maybe one task, or I don't know, something divine. But then the whole twin flame concept, I feel like matches these two, right? This is, so I guess with this setup, it was supposed to be 3 cards, ended up being 4 for me. But this is supposed to be the past, this is supposed to be the present challenge, and then this is supposed to be, I guess, the future. Or something like that. I have to go back and look because this was yesterday's. I hadn't posted it, but so there's that, right? And this sense of like combining the two, coming together, where the feminine is more awake or knows the road to go. Like there's this sense of knowing, and then this here is more of this sense of, I'm coming towards you, but I'm looking away. Like I'm looking at the past. Maybe I'm stuck in the past, or I'm bringing the past with me, like insecurities or maybe doubts. I don't know. So, and then this one, I think, is just that recognizing that power within. So this one's like a maybe in conclusion, right? Recognizing the power within, because even this one has like some type of light source in, and this is like, if you look at the chakras, I just realized it right now. If you look at the chakras, it's the heart chakra, but right underneath it in our stomach is this power chakra. I forget what it's called, but this is where our source of power almost. And we all have that, right? And then when you keep going down, there's creation, creative chakra. I forget what it's called. But then there's the root chakra. And so again, if we're looking at earth at the bottom, and kind of working our way up, this could be like the third eye chakra maybe. And then how this kind of extends further up as, because I think the top chakra is where you're connected to spiritual a little bit more. Let's see, is the throat chakra, but maybe that's not what's highlighted, what's important, right? I think right now what's important is the heart chakra is the source of our power. So anyways, that's what came out. So it definitely resonates as a personal reading, but again, there was something in me that felt like this is more on a global, or just other people need to hear it too. I don't know. So this is my first big read that I wanted to share with you guys. So I guess if more keep popping up this way, I am gonna have to have like a separate read for those, or a separate showing. And then I thought maybe I should record actually doing it in the moment, so you guys don't think I'm like faking it or something. But anyways, I felt like there was a lot of symbolism regarding the light within, be the light. So I think that is what I'm gonna title this one, is being the light. But yeah, so feel free to share your thoughts about it, or if you guys see something else. I'm open to learning. I'm open, you know, this is again my first larger read compared to my 1-card tarot shuffle in the mornings, and I've kept this one. I didn't do one this morning, I actually woke up late, but it's been sitting there because I felt like I needed to resonate, and I needed to just kind of chew on it for a little bit. And really I didn't make the time to chew on it before, so here it is now. All right, I guess that's it. Have a good evening.